Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a highly requested tutorial. Last week I shared the entire Champagne Glow collection from Becca and Jaclyn Hill, and I got a lot of questions on the eye look I was wearing in that video. So of course I was wearing the Champagne Collection eye palette, and I have just been raving about this ever since I got this in. I love this. I traveled with it all throughout Memorial Day weekend. I'm just obsessed with every single color in this palette. But several of you guys asked for a tutorial on the makeup look I was wearing in that video. So that is what I'm doing today. It is a very dramatic smoky eye, but also very appropriate for almond shaped eyes. The eye look I'm doing today will really give that illusion that you have rounder, larger eyes. Just from the technique that I'm going to be sharing. I absolutely love this eye look. I don't normally do a ton of dramatic looks, so I thought this would be a really nice change, and since you guys requested it, I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I have already primed my face with my Bare Minerals BB Primer in the shade Light. Now I'm going to move on to foundation. In the initial video where I was reviewing the entire Champagne Glow collection, I was wearing, I believe, Too Faced Born This Way, which I saw some comments saying they would like to see a tutorial with more of like a wearable face look. So I'm going to use my Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation stick. This is still a medium to full coverage foundation, but I feel like it comes off a little bit more natural, especially on camera, than what the Too Faced Born This Way does. So for those of you who were wanting more of a wearable face, I'm going to use this, and the only reason I'm not using something even lighter coverage than this is because the eyes are going to be pretty heavy, and when you pair a heavy eye with a light coverage face, you kind of have to go for a certain look with that, and I don't really think that they would be compatible, if that makes sense, for the type of look that I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this. I am using the shade Y225, which is probably going to be just a hair light on me, but we'll work with it. To buff this out, I'm just going to use an IT Cosmetics foundation brush. This one does not have a name, but just your regular foundation brush. I'm using something that isn't quite as dense because, again, I kind of want the face to be a little bit more on the natural side, but still have, you know, a good amount of coverage. Alright, so I've just applied a little bit of my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. This one is in the shade Fair Neutral. Pretty much the lightest shade I think you can get, maybe the second lightest. And I'm going to blend this out, and then after I blend it out, I'm going to go over the top of it with a highlighter. Highlighter, I'm using the usual MAC Prep and Prime pen. This one is in the shade Light Boost, which has a little bit more of that yellowish undertone to it. And to set those areas, I'm just going to use a little bit of my pressed Bye Bye Pores powder and lightly tap that underneath my eye and my chin and my nose. Alright, going to go ahead and do a little bit of bronzing with Too Faced Chocolate Soleil. This is my Up and Up powder brush. I love this brush just to bronze my skin and just to use for like overall light contouring. I think it just applies the right amount of product for my skin type or my skin tone. I just love it. It's like $5 at Target. Using the Champagne Collection face palette, I'm going to first apply my highlighter. I'm going to use the method that Jaclyn showed on her Snapchat. She said that she likes to apply Champagne Pop first to the apples of her cheeks and then Prosecco Pop more towards the higher points of her cheeks. So I'm just taking my MAC 129 brush, just picking up a little bit of the Champagne Pop, and I'm going to pop it right on the apples of my cheeks. And I think she said she did this before blush, which is what I like to do a lot of the times, because if you get your highlighter too intense, the blush will kind of tone it down. Alright, now I'm going to pick up Prosecco Pop. Prosecco Pop is a little golden on my skin tone right now, but I'm just going to apply it really lightly. For blush, I think I'm going to go for Amaretto. I think it'll complement the eye look a little bit better. In my video where I showed this palette, I think I was wearing Rosé Spritz, and it just felt a little bit too pink for the warm tones that were going on my eyes. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Amaretto again to the apples of my cheeks. I've discovered that blush looks better on me if I just apply it to the apples of my cheeks. I know people say that that's supposed to be you know, like a dated method. It's supposed to make you look older, but for the shape of my face, I feel like a clown now when I take my blush like all the way back, you know what I mean? Alright, so obviously I have already done this eye. The drama is definitely popping compared to Bored Sally over here. So to start out with, I'm just going to take Cordial and use that as my first transition color. I'm using my Sigma Tapered Blending E40 brush, and I'm just going to basically slap that on. I mean, you do not have to be precise with this unless you have super fair skin, then it might show up a bit darker on you, so you might just want to be a little bit more light-handed with it. So yeah, I'm just going to dip that in Cordial a couple times and just buff that all over. You also want to make sure that you're buffing it pretty high to your brow bone, because as you can see, this is going to be a really dramatic smoky look. We're not really going to have a defined brow bone. It's literally going to take up almost the entire eye. Okay, so now I'm going to dip into Cognac, which is the really warm brown shade, and with the same brush, just an E40, I'm going to focus this more into the crease and not as heavily apply it all over the lid. So really just going back and forth into my crease, and this adds a nice warm touch to the eyes. My dog is running off right now. What is he going after? Alright, just a pine cone. Anyways, this is just going to add that really warm touch that I was talking about when I went in with the Amaretto blush. And this color right here really complements the blush shade. I swear, anytime I do an eye look, like a dedicated eye look, my brows are just never happening for me. I mean, most people are probably like, what the hell is this girl doing with her eyebrows? But sometimes the struggle is real for the brows. So this is my favorite shade in the palette. I'm going to pick up Bordeaux, and I'm going to use a MAC 139 short handle brush. This is an awesome brush to pack color onto the lid, and I'm just going to start applying that to the lower portion of my lid. I'm going to try to keep this as low as possible, really just touching the crease, not actually applying in the crease, but just slightly touching the crease. So I'm just going to pack this on. It doesn't have to be perfect to begin with because we're going to have to blend it out anyways. So now I'm using more of a tapered crease brush to blend out my actual crease. This is really going to help make sure that there is no line running through my crease. So you definitely want to make sure you have more of a tapered blending brush so you can just kind of erase the kind of crease line that's going through. So now that we have the majority of that blended out, I'm taking the shimmery shade called Champagne Toast, and I'm just going to pick that up with my finger and apply that directly over the Bordeaux shade, so it adds this really nice kind of golden reflex. It's not such a flat matte look. I really think that this makes the entire eye look, because when you do look down, you kind of see like just this pop of a nice copper tone. And just really quickly, I'm applying Chardonnay to the inner corner of my eye. I'm going to go ahead and start on my lower lash line. I'm taking MAC's Eye Kohl in the shade Prunella, and I'm just going to take that and line basically the inner rim of my eye. To smoke that out to begin with, I'm going to mix Cordial and Bordeaux and use that same tapered blending brush and just start to buff out my lower lash line. We're going to go back later after we add the lashes and the liner and kind of deepen it up just a little bit. So I'm going to go back in with Champagne Toast and just add this to the inner third of my eye. So I'm just going to stop about right here. So I'm going to move on to my winged liner. I cannot do winged liner on camera. I'm not even going to attempt to ruin this look, but I am using the Estee Edit Blackest Liner. It's this really thick marker tip liner, and it actually does not transfer onto my lid, which I have never found another eyeliner other than the Kat Von D one that does that. So I've really been enjoying this, so I'm going to go ahead and apply this, and then I'm going to show you how I smoke it out, kind of like how I did this side. Alright, so essentially this is what my winged liner looks like. Pretty basic, so I'm going to go ahead and smoke this out. I'm going to take a really dark, almost black, but this is actually a really deep plum color. You could use Beauty Marked by MAC. That is the closest shade I can think to this one that I'm using. This is from the Stila in the Moment palette. And I'm just going to take a slightly tapered fluffy brush. This one is from Coastal Scents. It's super old. And I'm just literally going to start to buff out this winged liner, really focusing on the edge. Because that's where I want it to be the smokiest. Alright, so now I'm going to apply my Falsies. These are probably the heaviest Falsies that I have ever used, but these are by Eyelure, and they are the number 143 Exaggerate Double Layered Lash. So yeah, I got these at Ulta. I would assume Ulta still has them. I've got these last year, but that is the number. So now that the lashes are on, I'm just going to take the excess from that really rich plum color, and I'm just going to buff that along the lower lash line just to intensify it a little bit, and also add a little bit of my MAC Extended Play Giga Blash Lash Mascara. So for lips, I'm using my IT Cosmetics Your Lips But Better lip liner. We're going to go for a pretty cool tone nude look, almost like a grayish lip. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this to define my lips a little bit. For my lips, I'm using the NARS Velvet Matte Lip Pencil. This one is in the shade Betina. I want a really natural nude lip, and this is just almost like my natural lip color, just bumped up a little bit. And for lip gloss, I'm using my Buxom, I don't know why I'm trying to show you this like this right now. This is Buxom's Full On Lip Cream in the shade Hot Toddy. Don't think I have ever worn my hair this tight on my head before, but we're just gonna roll with it because I don't want to fix it.